she's unwilling to really, it's like she's willing to subjectively look at everybody else except for herself. And we kind of talked about this last week where she was like kind of lashing out at the others, where she was like, well, you know, it's not like you have any money, Shauna, or whatever. You guys are poor. Kenny, your family's poor. But or whatever else she was saying, talking crap. I think she said something nasty to Misty or to Nat or what have you. You know, she's willing to be nasty to everyone else, but she's not willing to look at herself that subjectively or hold herself accountable for the things she's done. Because even rather than holding herself accountable, she went and sought out Van and she was like, help me, you know, I need help. I'm in like, you know, this rough place. But she's also getting that protection from Van. Van's the one that is loyal. Van says, we promised each other that we were going to look out for each other. And the only reason that Lottie is crazy and she's gone through all of this like psychological, because honestly, like whatever happened with Lottie, yeah, she might have had some things going on beforehand, schizophrenia or whatever, but like their experiences in the wilderness, she, you know, she shouldn't have just been sent to the mental hospital and given electroshock therapy and tried to suppress that, because that's all that was suppression. And there's this idea too, especially with Walter labeling them as a coven, you know, once they were separated, once they were rescued and separated from each other, and they didn't get to have that time together to protect each other. No one was there to protect Lottie after that. No one. And I think even Akilah, remember when Akilah was studying for the test and she's like, Mari's like, well, when we get back, you know, we're going to be out of school. And Akilah's like, well, I'm not going to be, you know. So by the time they get rescued and they return, they're old enough. They're not going back to high school where they're like, you know, sort of forced to be together. They're all going about their individual lives independently. And so they're not that powerful coven as they were together. And I think Van is really the only one who's recognizing that, where she's like, we are more powerful together. And that's why we need to protect each other. Because when we are on our own, look at how chaotic we are. Look at all of us. We are a hot mess. Look at Shauna. Look at Ty. Look at Misty. Look at Nat. Look at all of us. And even Van, she's got cancer. Like her form of it manifesting into something, Van's didn't come in a form of like self-destruction the way that the other women did. Hers came as a health crisis. Hers came as she has cancer now. And so that all comes into play with their final ritual, because now, and even Lottie kind of indicated that, she kind of hinted that when that they gave the wilderness what it wants. And so now they're going to be rewarded. And so are we going to see that Van's cancer might be cured or may subside or something like that because of this sacrifice to the wilderness? And I think maybe some people, I think I saw a couple comments here in the chat where maybe that's not like the most PC commentary, I guess you might say, or whatever outlook on that. But honestly, I think it's actually quite beautiful because, you know, like,
wait, what?
Yeah, I just think there's like,
what comment are you talking about being PC?
I can't find it now. I can't find jack crap for comments. I just saw one out of the corner of my eye where it was like, they were like, well, are they trying to make commentary saying that you can cure cancer by
we've talked about this.
Someone, you know?
No, but we've talked about this many times about what you believe in your DNA and if you have the power to heal. And we've talked about this like every episode, basically. I've talked about it a lot, I know, but I do think that she's going to be able to heal. And when we talk about Lottie as well, when she said, oh, well, all these things manifest in us different ways, and they can mental illnesses or all these kinds of illnesses. And what she talks about several times, how they can manifest. And now we see the physical projection of that through the show, through the storyline, through this narrative with Van. And I do think that, you know, what you believe, she believes that she's being healed, it's going to come into play, whether we think it's really the it factor, her DNA or whatever. But I've done it myself. Like I practice it and I think it works too. So that's just my personal story. Like I've practiced healing a cancer and I feel like it actually is working. And it's shrinking. So it's belief, and you have to believe that you can get over something. And that's with anything you do. Anything. If you don't, like whatever energy you put out there, like Shauna put out the energy that she was nervous, gonna be the prey. So she's not the alpha female anymore. So she's gonna become the prey, which she did. And it's like, you know, the it factor, like he says in the chat, the it factor. There's a mind body connection 100%.
Yeah.
And I think that Van, though, you know, I've talked about the wolf's bite and lupus and things like that, the systematic disorders. And Lottie does talk about that in a couple episodes before, too. It's going to be fun to play Van's role. And I did love that her belief really started showing prevailing in this episode. But back to Ty really quick, because like Ty was, like you said, she's just denying all of this stuff forever. She's quick to say, I don't want to do it. But like as soon as she says she doesn't want to do anything, I feel like Tree Ty just takes over and makes her do it.
Well, so. Tree Ty, or her alter, like she is willing to do the hard things, the survival things that like the other Ty is not willing. Like the
refusing of the draw. I feel like she took over right away. Like, I don't know if you guys saw the changing. You can see her change in the face. I think the actresses are trying to show that more. But like, what happens if you refuse to draw a Ty? You know what happens, and then you can see instantly that she kind of like has this more confidence in her, which is scary because I feel like we could all relate this in a sense to that deeper it factor in ourselves with, you know, our deep unconsciousness. It's that deep with her.
Well, and also the, like you were saying, with like the power of self-healing, mind-body connection and all of that, like there is this idea too that any illnesses, like any illnesses that plague the human body would have a cure in Mother Nature. Like Mother Nature has the cure for everything. It's just a matter of finding it. And so this is kind of like an interesting commentary on that as well. Like the wilderness may hold the cure, right? And you just have to find the key to that. And so there's kind of an interesting like idea to play with there. But also the idea of like when you're sick and you're dying, and I'll speak from personal experience, like when my dad was sick and dying and he was in hospice and all he wanted to do was leave. He's like, I just want to go to the woods. I just want to go. And they were so damn strict. They wouldn't let him leave with medication or anything like that. And so we never had enough time to get to the wilderness without him running out of that window of like his pain medication, right? So that for me was like something really tragic to have to carry, was like all he wanted was to be in the wilderness, and like they held him prisoner, you know? And so like his illness held him prisoner, or like society held him prisoner, when all he wanted was, he was just like, I mean, honestly, my dad was like, let me just go die in the woods kind of thing. And I think that's human instinct. I think humans in general have that urge. It's almost like my husband's been watching this show about monkeys on Netflix. He's really into it. But one of the things that we learned from them is that when they are dying, they go alone. They don't have anybody else around them, and they go to die alone because it's sort of just like the other kind of thing, that you're separated from your society, right? So it's like a private thing. And us being so closely related to primates, it's like, I think that's our human instinct, is to go to nature because nature takes us back, you know?